Hello everybody, what is going on? My name is Colonies and I'm here with...
Kidlot, welcome.
And today we're going to be doing a recap of the Nintendo Direct at E3, the Nintendo digital event that we just witnessed and that everyone just witnessed. That kind of blew us all the way. I thought it was very good. And we're here to share our thoughts on the games that were announced. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You want to start off with the first game?
Sure, let's go ahead. First thing we're going to talk about is the Amiibo. This is the figurine platform that has been speculated for a long time, that has been hinted at by Nintendo and introduced with Smash Brothers in a very cool way. I think that this is actually going to be a really big moneymaker for Nintendo, and while I can understand why some people are very skeptical about the entire thing, I think this is actually going to be very beneficial, and it's going to be kind of cool and something new. What do you think about it?
I think it's going to be a hit, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of times, yeah, you're right, like some people are skeptical, like when somebody introduces something new, they're like, is this just kind of like a gimmick or something like that? But, you know, like, if you look at other games, like I've been talking a lot, it's like, you know, some things really just catch on really hard. I mean, you can say the same thing about Skylanders, for example. That's going huge for Activision right now, and it's like almost the same premise. In fact, I think Nintendo even said that they're going to be doing some special like Wii U deal or something with them, where Skylanders, probably don't even need a portal for that game. If you want to play it on Wii U, you can just do it directly with the NFC gamepad feature. So, I think it's going to be one of those things, like, I don't know, like Beanie Babies, like these kind of like, I don't want to call them like fads, but new I don't know, like a social revolution sort of stuff where like these things will like just like pop off the shelves. It's gonna go crazy. I mean, we're pretty much guaranteed we're gonna buy every single figurine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're suckers for that kind of thing, and I feel like so is everybody else. And this is really gonna draw in a lot of like smaller kids into the Wii U right now. Because if you think about it, it's kind of contradictory towards Nintendo's image, because a lot of people think of Nintendo as like the kiddie company, but I think that like right now it's just a lot of older people, which is kind of ironic coming from me, but it's like a lot of older gamers on Wii U right now, and I think this will help draw in the younger market.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's not just like, just a figurine. There's like a metagame as well, like leveling up your character or something like that. So there's definitely an incentive to like, spend time with the figurine, and it's just more value in that way than just like, oh, it's just like a little plastic figure that's just like, oh, they could have just given that to me anyway. It's kind of like, there's more functionality to it, especially too when you can bring it to other people's houses and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited. One thing that they haven't said, or I don't think they've said, is a price point for this. The last time I went to Best Buy, I saw like these like little Disney figurines that you can scan, and they're about like $12 each though, which is, in my opinion, kind of steep for a figurine. Especially
that is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But with like the in-game functionality, then it makes a little more sense. But $12 is a little not much, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you could it could get, the price could definitely get up there, especially if there's like 10, 12 figurines, and then more is going to be obviously coming on the way with different stuff, with different games, of course. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're saying stuff like Smash Brothers. They're going to be supporting Mario Kart. Like. Oh
yeah, Mario Kart. An already released title will be using this, so I wonder how soon they're going to be putting that out.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a good idea. Still some questions to be asked, but I think honestly this could be like I was saying, like Nintendo's like side metagame where they could just create so much popularity for their franchises, honestly, with this system.
Right. Okay, so I think we need to move on to something else that is also very big news. That is Zelda Wii U and the little teaser that we were shown and the open world talk. So I'm going to let you start this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, for a Zelda game, when Onuma was saying, like, we want to be a different Zelda game and so on and so forth, I kind of appreciate that. I guess in some sense, we're content producers as well on YouTube. We want to kind of, like, always, have revisions to what we do on YouTube, make things better, and so on and so forth. So, I can understand where he's coming from, where he's trying to change the Zelda franchise to make it more fresh, and, he did that whole talk about being in this open landscape, and it's calmed down, and that's kind of like the whole theme of Zelda, where it's like, okay, crazy stuff happens in calm areas and neighborhoods and so on and so forth. So, like, in terms of him talking about that sort of stuff, I agree. In terms of, like, gameplay / graphics, they're kind of going a little bit with the Skyward Sword. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's like when it was shown, I think that it was, at least it isn't, well, I'm not trying to like bash on Wind Waker at all. I think Wind Waker is a fantastic game, but I feel like if they would have went with that graphic style again, then it would have been a little controversial and people would have, been a little shy to the idea of this new open world Zelda. So I feel like they kind of picked the right thing here, because if you look at something right now, I saw this from another YouTuber, this is a very valid point. If you look at Wind Waker versus Twilight Princess right now, which game looks better? The original Wind Waker on GameCube versus Twilight Princess on GameCube, it's Wind Waker because the graphic style holds up much better. So maybe in 10 to 15 years this game will look better with its current graphic style than something like a Twilight Princess really hard-edged, realistic graphic style would.
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree with that YouTuber. I would say that, there's a big difference between 480p low shaders and, 720p to 1080p, high graphics and textures and stuff like that for Wii. I think the reason why Twilight Princess looks bad is because it's on the GameCube with low processing power. I mean, we've seen for Wii U, Mario Kart, like, they can do it. So, I mean, a good looking graphics game nowadays, I mean, if you want to bring the whole idea of, like, standing the test of time, I think, the HD super realistic Zelda that they brought at the original E3 2012, if they came with that graphic style, like, they would have no problem, like, selling that or marketing that, and it would be like a quote-unquote masterpiece because of just how, realistic and beautiful it looks. I think, honestly, like, I would have preferred that, actually. I'm going to say that right now.
I would agree with you. I would prefer that, too. But what they're doing right now, I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. I just want to put that out there.
It could be worse. Let's just put that out there. And plus, like, I mean, we're not trying to bash on this. We're not trying to down this game at all. It looks absolutely amazing. I love the idea of an open world Zelda. I love the idea of breaking barriers in the franchise that haven't been broken before. And I think they've been testing it a lot, with the link between worlds, how you can choose which dungeon you want to go to, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's all building up to this game. This is the killer app for Wii U that we're waiting for. So, yep, let's move on to the next game. Okay, what do you want to talk about next?
I'll say a quick note about Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So they did show a trailer. It was kind of awesome, a lot of like pre-rendered cinematics, like CG and stuff like that. It looked great. In terms of gameplay, it honestly looks like Pokemon X and Y 2 or something like that. If you didn't really tell me the name of the game and you compared trailers, you would like see almost like, really very close similarities to both of them. I'm just saying, like, that's what I saw. I guess, of course, they're going to be using this new game engine that they developed for Pokemon X and Y. But in terms of like what they showed, it was pretty awesome. New Mega Evolutions. There was like Latios flying in the beginning. A really popular legendary Pokemon. They had like, they showed places in the game: Rustboro City, Fortree City. We had Roxanne as a gym leader, Archie, Maxie, Team Magma, Team Aqua leaders, Steven Stone. So that, it's kind of nice to see like those little GBA sprites like come to life like that. So that was pretty awesome. And then of course the whole fanfare of Mega Evolutions at the end. So I'm really excited for it. I'm mostly excited, not just because of like, the graphics and it's being remade and stuff like that, but just like the fondness of those GBA games that I really had. So I just can't wait to play them again and just kind of do service to the game in that way.
Okay, yep, that's really good points. Okay, so let's move on next to Mario Maker. What do you make of this game?
Mario Maker. I mean, when I saw this, I'm like, I don't know if it could work or not. In terms of like it being popular. I mean, I know there's like mods out there and like hacks for different Mario games, so I guess it is popular in that sense. But I think like I don't know if like a younger kid would be able to like pick this game up and make their levels and like I don't know, share it to the world. I don't know what audience this is for. How about you chime in? What do you think?
Okay, so here's what I think. Honestly, I've had a lot of experience with like younger cousins and people like that. When you say about the younger market, honestly, I think that this is something that younger audiences will really, really enjoy. And it also has that touch of nostalgia where, like, because I was looking at my Twitter feed when this was going on, when they announced it, and everyone was, like, freaking out about this. I was like, okay, I like the idea of Mario Maker. I think it's cool. I'll get the game, but it's not that big of a deal to me. But to a lot of these people that grew up on, like, the NES and stuff like that they're trying to, like, attract that older audience, then I definitely think they have it with this game. Because there's just something about like you making because it's like I saw one guy say that this was my dream at 10 years old playing Super Mario Bros. On the NES to design a game, right? Design a Mario game like this, and you kind of get to do that, and I think it's really cool. And I think my favorite part about the entire game is the fact that you can switch from the new Super Mario Bros. Graphics style to the old Mario Bros. Graphic style. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's really. Yeah, I think that's a good feature.
Okay.
But I guess final thought. I mean, it's just like maybe I'm just a little biased. I like playing games rather than making them, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's kind of the same thing with, like, for me, I'm just not that interested, to be honest. Like Mario and Donkey Kong, like, making a level and then sharing it. I don't know, I guess that's just not my cup of tea. I'm kind of more of that mainstream, like core game, like core single player game. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little biased, but I just, it'll be interesting to see how it does, because I can't really, like, predict what's going to happen in terms of, like, popularity. I'm sure a lot of older kids, like you said, are going to want to play this because of nostalgia. Maybe the newer kids would want to, make their own levels, but I don't know, like, as well, like, with the depth of the game, if it's just making levels and trading them with each other.
I think that's it, actually, and I don't know if this is going to be a full $60 game or not.
That's what I was kind of hinting at too. It's probably not going to be a $60 game if that's the truth. It's probably like $10-15 game.
But honestly, the more games for Wii U, the better. Just the more games they put out, just to avoid that drought. I think you know what? Any game is a good game at this point for Wii U.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's move on to one of the more interested things that were announced, and something we both have a little bit of split opinions on. That's Splatoon, the new title, the new IP for Nintendo. So I'm going to go ahead and start off this one. I think this game looks really awesome. I think that it's great that Nintendo is trying something new, because, every once in a while Nintendo tries something new, and I feel like we've had a lot of Mario lately. I feel like we've had a lot of Zelda lately. We've had a lot of these kind of main franchises, and I think it's time for something new, and I think this game is exactly that. It looks like a ton of fun. It looks like it's a multiplayer game, which is good, something that you can interact with other players in a 4v4 online play. And I don't know, it looks really innovative, it looks really cool, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this game at the Treehouse presentation.
Yeah, same to me. I thought it was like a cute little game with the graphics and just like the whole gameplay and such. It's great. I mean, it's great that Nintendo is kind of embracing these indie developers, but it's always that kind of worry because, indie stuff, like, let's be honest, doesn't really... It gets overshadowed in some sense, by Nintendo's other franchises. They always have, like, a special segment in their Nintendo Directs and their E3 press conferences where, they have, like, this, like, lots of little games, like, show, like, the indie games. Kind of the same thing with PlayStation and Microsoft. They're trying to do this whole initiative of, like, let's support indie games, which is great, but... it has to have some more, like, punch, you know what I'm saying, to have, like, that lasting effect, like, where people will actually pick it up.
Yeah, that's actually true, because I feel like this could be very similar to Titanfall, and the fact where people played it and they loved it, and then it kind of just died out. And, because, I mean, if you look right now, no one is playing Titanfall. It's kind of sad, but, the thing, I don't know, it's all going to depend on, because I feel like Nintendo just has that ability. They just have that trick up their sleeve that makes me get on Mario Kart 8, like, at least for an hour every day, or something like that, It's like, there's something there that gets you that replay value, so we'll see how it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on next to Star Fox. The so this one came with a little controversy because actually 20 minutes before the Nintendo digital event started, Time Magazine actually leaked an interview with Miyamoto that announced the new Star Fox game. And at the very end of the digital event, Nintendo actually showed a little teaser of the Star Fox game. The TV was kind of blurred out. Miyamoto never said what he was working on, and they're supposed to be showing it off like a little bit later today, or maybe even later in the week, not 100% sure. But at this point, we all know it's Star Fox. So, yeah, do you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that. It's kind of like when you're a child, you skip on some games just because, like, there's no real social presence there. The internet was kind of like not that big, back in the day. So,
yeah.
There's kind of like this like sectioned off like idea of games of experiences that you had in the past. So, you play some games. Maybe you got lucky in some sense that I got to experience like Super Mario 64, Kirby 64, all those different games, Zelda. But then you miss some games, and then it's funny because you go into the future, and then you're like, oh, what about this game? What about this game? And I'm like, oh, I never played Glover. I never played other stuff like that. And unfortunately for me, Star Fox was kind of like that. I know there was Star Fox on the SNES, but that's not the first system that I owned. It was, I was in the N64 era. you're probably what, GameCube era or something like that.
Yeah, and I actually had Star Fox Adventures, which is considered to be the worst Star Fox of all time, and rightfully so. But actually, back in the day, I actually used to love that game because you don't know any different. Because that's one thing I love about childhood memories is the fact that you didn't have the internet to decide your opinion for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, while most people will bash on Star Fox Adventures, I had fun with that game as a kid, and I'm really excited to see what they'll do with Star Fox now because Miyamoto said that he wants this to be different. He said that, this is a quote I saw from an IGN show or whatever it is. They said, Star Fox 64 was like Star Fox the TV show. This is going to be like Star Fox the movie.
That's great. I mean, yeah, it's that kind of idea, I want to play it. I want to try new franchise, especially if Miyamoto like has this dearly to his heart.
Yeah,
of course, I think
yeah.
it's a good service to like try out the game and like do the whole gameplay videos and just try out the game and just see how it is. But this is kind of like the other point as well, like trying to bring back Star Fox. It seems like there's like a tier list of Nintendo's franchises. Of course, on the top, Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon, and then you have like these mid-tier characters. I'm not saying the games are bad at all. That is completely not what I'm saying, but it's like the priority list of like how easy they are to sell. Then you have the middle, like Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Kirby, and that's kind of what I hinted at in my other video that I made, where it's like they first bring out their first main characters, and then they keep kind of going back to the train.
That's exactly what they're doing.
So they had Kirby, they had Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze, stuff like that. And now this is the time where like Captain Falcon is his turn to come back. Star Fox is his turn to come back. He is going to come back. Hopefully Metroid is like the next one to come back. But I think like with those games, they're like so worried that they need to come out with like kind of a gimmick to sell the games. Honestly, that's the whole point. Like I remember when they tried to come out with Metroid for Wii. They tried this whole new Team Ninja style like side scroll. It was pretty bad. Like not a lot of people liked it, but that's kind of what the gimmick was. And they had all these crazy cutscenes and stuff like that, and so on and so forth.
But honestly, cinematic. I feel like Nintendo learned from their lesson there, and I think that this is going to be a more.
No, but I think the gimmick is like the Wii U. I'm not saying gimmick as a bad thing, but like a feature that they're trying to sell with the game. So definitely for Star Fox, it's this whole like gamepad, like racer kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm like actually flying on R-Wing with the Wii U gamepad, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like I'll use the word gimmick or feature that they're gonna try really hard to try to sell for Star Fox, in my opinion, and that's kind of like what they're thinking, what they need to do if they want to bring back older franchises, because it's not as easy for them. What I'm trying to say, it's easier to sell a Mario game than it is to sell like a Kirby game or a Donkey Kong game or a Star Fox game. So that's just kind of my opinions on the matter.
Okay, so I think it's time to move on. Let's move on to Hyrule Warriors, the game the mashup game from Dynasty Warriors and Zelda.
Yeah, I don't know. You can start first.
Okay, so what I think about this game, I think it's definitely going to be pretty interesting. I'm glad they announced that I like the title Hyrule Warriors, so I'm glad they stuck with that title. And I also think it's really cool that that you can play with Zelda and Impa. I think that's really cool. I was kind of afraid it was just going to be Link, and it's just like, okay, we're just going to hit things with our sword, and it's just the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm glad they showed a little more diversity, some different level design, some new characters, stuff like that. And I think this is definitely going to be a good game. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I'll definitely pick this one up.
Yeah, that's also another idea that Nintendo, I think they're doing this more, like especially with that Fire Emblem Cross, that other game, and Hyrule Warriors. They're like giving their IPs to other companies so that the other companies can like make the games for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's a smart idea.
That's good.
That's a smart idea, so they can develop more games and have more games in the pipeline for the people to enjoy. And that's kind of what I feel like they're trying to do with Hyrule Warriors. They're like, hey, here's the Zelda IP, our intellectual property. Make a game and we'll sell it, and we'll do some sort of deal. And that's kind of what they did so far, just from the gameplay and even from the footage like before when it was first revealed. It's kind of like that beat 'em up style gameplay, kind of like a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of fighting, melee elements and stuff like that. It's more about fighting rather than the story. So I don't know. To me, I have to see it in context. I have to play the game and like I don't know if there's like a storyline associated with it or something like that, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what it turns out to be, because I don't know if they're gonna actually put a storyline. You know, there's gonna be like cutscenes and stuff like that. Because at that point, it might just be another Zelda game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, actually, I doubt that. I think this game is more towards a very like niche audience. That Nintendo kind of, like I said, they're trying to expand their audience. They're trying to get into, and I think it's also very good that they're abandoning that we got to do it all ourselves mentality, and kind of lending their IPs like Zelda out to a very treasured IP from Nintendo out to this company, to make this crossover game. Just more Wii U games for the better. More diverse games means a more diverse audience. So good job, Nintendo.
Yeah. Just one final word. I'm just saying, like, I want to see how they're going to come out with the game, like, in what sort of style. Like, is there going to be, like, single-player elements, or is it more just, like, melee, just hop into the game and just, like, kick some ass,
That's what I think. That's what I think.
Okay.
Alright, so let's move on to Mario Party 10, or, commonly called now Bowser Party 10. So I was going to say a few words on this one. I think this is definitely an interesting take on the Mario Party series, because, 10 games in, I think everybody can admit Mario Party is getting kind of stale. The common idea of, just playing these mini games, and they can only have so many ideas for mini games, that I think it's so good that they're finally showing that the Wii U gamepad is a huge innovation factor to every series they have, and especially Mario Party, because they announced that it has, you can use Bowser, so like one player can use Bowser while everyone else is like, rolling around the board or whatever, and he can control the mini games, he can like, torture the players in the game, stuff like that. And I think it's definitely a very good idea to take this franchise and kind of expand it to new reaches, to, kind of maybe put some fresh air in there, because it's kind of dead right now. So, yep, that's it for Mario Party. Any words you have on that one?
Yeah, I mean, for Mario Party, it's a weird one because it's for Wii U, and they don't technically support 4 gamepads. So they can't just make a game where it's like, okay, here's 4 gamepads, twist all your gamepads, use the stylus on all 4 gamepads. You can't have that traditional sense of Mario Party with the controllers that they offer. They have like this kind of like a smattering pot of like different controllers that you can use, so they had to like kind of take their own idea and do it a different way by having that like one main character. It's kind of like in the sense like Nintendo Land, where like that Mario and Toad game, it's like one master player and then like 4 sub players that can play, that kind of idea. So they had to do that idea with Mario Party. That's why they introduced this whole Bowser thing, mess around with other players, and obviously you're going to be using the gamepad. You're the master player trying to mess up the other players using the other controllers. That's kind of like the whole point. In terms of like gameplay and staleness of the franchise, I would say that Mario Party 3DS or Mario Party Island Tour was actually kind of a letdown, because the mini games were kind of lame. The boards were kind of shallow. So, and of course,
I never played it, so I wouldn't have an opinion on that.
Yeah, it wasn't that good in my opinion. It was, previous Mario Parties were way better. In terms of like that sort of stuff, I mean, that's just on them. They have to make good mini games. They have to make good boards. I mean, they're doing the whole thing where it's like, everyone's driving in the same car.
I hate that. I really don't like that.
Yeah, I like Mario Party 4, like...
Mario Party 4, Mario Party 2, and Mario Party 1, but this isn't like a nostalgia fest or anything. We're just giving our opinions on the game. So yeah, Mario Party 10, it looks okay. I'm interested to see what they'll do with it, show more footage of it, and that's why I love that they're doing this, developers, streams and stuff like that, so we can see more of these games, more gameplay, actual gameplay, unlike some of Nintendo's rivals. So yeah, I think I think it's pretty cool.
Alright.
Okay, so we got 2 more games here. We got Yoshi Woolly World, a very interesting title and a very interesting looking game. Do you want to start off on this one?
I mean, I don't have much to say. This is supposed to be like a spiritual, I guess, successor to a Kirby game on the DS, like, what is it, Canvas Curse or something like that?
No. We're talking about Yoshi Woolly World. That's Kirby's Epic Yarn for Wii.
So it's Kirby's Epic Yarn, but like it's a Yoshi game. So they're taking Kirby's Epic Yarn's idea.
Yeah, kind of. They're using the same like graphic style, but with like a Yoshi twist on it.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I thought they said they were trying to take inspiration from a DS game, but maybe
that's for the next game, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course. Well, okay, so the Yarn one. Okay, for Yoshi's Yarn. I mean, when they were talking about it, they're like, how can we make wool and yarn like exciting? Like crumbles or like.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of funny to me, like the way they were trying to like, I don't know,
For sure.
justify their gameplay design. I don't know what to say, honestly. I really don't know what to say. It's like. It would kind of be the same to me if it was Kirby's Yarn 2 or something like that. It's just a Yoshi game. Whatever they want to do with it, I guess they do with it. I guess they're just trying to rely on the cutesy factor of it. It's a good art style, and so on and so forth. But I don't know. Usually that sort of stuff is a hit or miss. I mean, I've seen like the new Yoshi's Island game come out for 3DS. Some people didn't like that just because of the way they presented the game. So it could be a hit or miss depending on what they do. It's more or less on their gameplay decisions rather than like this whole yarn kind of graphic style. So it's pretty much all up to them on what they do with the game.
Right. What I have some interesting thoughts about this game. I think that it's not supposed to like compete against like New Super Mario Bros. U or anything like that in terms of the platformer. I think it's more of it's got like the cutesy factor to it, like you said. It's supposed to be a very relaxing, chill game. They said anything, it's not. They said, Mario is all about getting to the end of the level within a time limit, with challenging platforms, stuff like that. Whereas this game is just kind of a relaxed type of game. Explore the world, look at the graphic style, pull apart like every piece of yarn, watch it all fall apart, stuff like that.
That's definitely true.
It's just like it's like an experience more than like I would equate it to like the movie like Gravity or something where like it's more of an experience than a really like challenging depth, like a really in-depth game. It's just kind of there. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're right, because I remember in the Kirby game you couldn't die. Like there was no way to die in the game actually.
Yep. Yeah.
So it is like you're right. It is that experience type of game. I don't know. To me, if you're gonna give that sort of game, maybe the full price tag is not something that you want to do. But
I actually disagree with you on that one.
They're spending a lot of time on the development though of the game.
And I feel like I know tons of people. I never actually played the game, but I know tons of people love Kirby's Epic Yarn. I actually watched a Let's Play of it of Trevor Conroy, but actually. I don't know, a lot of people love Kirby's Epic Yarn, so I'm excited to play Yoshi Woolly World and experience it for the first time myself. Okay, so last game we have is Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, a very surprise game from Nintendo. No one actually expected this announcement. There was nothing on like the fake leaks and stuff like this about this. It just came kind of out of left field as a very surprising, but welcomed game. Like I said before, the more Wii U games, the better. If we can just keep getting these games out and using Nintendo's franchises, I think it's good. So, do you have any thoughts on this game?
I mean, it's stylus input heavy, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess, in some sense, they're trying to develop the gamepad a little bit more. They're trying to, like, I don't know. I don't want to.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's good. Some people might say, like, oh, it's kind of like an excuse to use the gamepad, with the stylus and stuff like that. I mean, we won't get into that, but I guess just to, like, give at least some, I don't know, credibility. It seems like a lot of these games, though, are doing that sort of style, like this Kirby game, the Mario and Donkey Kong game, the Mario Maker and stuff like that with the gamepad. So, in some sense, it's good that they're trying to justify, like, hey, the gamepad is a unique experience. They should. I'm just saying they should do more, and they are doing more, and that's great with the stylus,
right.
And NFC. So yeah, I mean,
I feel like that was like a big part of Nintendo's pitch at E3. While they did show like the big games, and they also showed like these games where it's like, hey, the gamepads, because there's rumors of people like saying that Nintendo needs to abandon the gamepad, like the Kinect or whatever. And now Nintendo's kind of saying, hey, you guys. We're gonna utilize the gamepad. It is a unique feature of this console. It is a selling point, and we're gonna make it more of a selling point. Because really, that should be the first thing that comes to people's mind when I think of Wii U. It should be like this gamepad. It's innovative. It's a whole new experience for gaming. It makes it better. And right now, I feel like it's kind of like it makes it inconvenient. Whereas when you get more of these type of games, that's when people start thinking, hey, the Wii U gamepad is a selling point for this console, and not just the games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's on them to make the games for the gamepad. You're right. In some sense, it is kind of inconvenient. Like, would you rather play Mario Kart with a Pro Controller, or would you rather play with the gamepad? I would play with the Pro Controller. I think it's more comfortable for me. And the other games, it's just off-screen TV play is awesome. And believe me, I've done a speed run of New Super Mario Bros. U only looking at the gamepad.
Yep.
I mean, it's good. I use it. I use my gamepad every day, surfing the internet, checking YouTube even and stuff like that. The gamepad's excellent. But it's just like they need to find that one killer app where it's like gamepad is like you need the gamepad to own, and it's kind of something like, I don't know, maybe management, like micromanagement or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really.
Well,
seen
it's got to be like the Amiibo project, right? That's gonna make what the game. That's got to make the gamepad, you know, like an essential part of this bundle that is the Wii U.
But my point is, like, it's hard to, like, okay, because you're bringing so many kind of like offhand ideas into one thing. You have NFC coming into the gamepad, and you have to like put it on your gamepad and scan it, and then you have like the touchpad, and then you have like this, like, you know, moving around like a steering wheel. There's like all, like, kind of in some sense 3 different weird ideas, like, all in one controller. It's like you can only use one idea at a time. That's what I'm trying to say, is that maybe, you know, hopefully Nintendo could make a game like that can integrate all the sort of gamepad features to be like, see, that's what I feel like, you know, that's what would make it less of a gimmick. It's more of a gimmick if you just, oh, here's a touchpad and that's all you use. Oh, just steer it. You know,
well, it's a double-edged sword, because if you think about it, for that game to even be like recognized, it has to be one of these big franchises, right? And you don't want to step on people's hearts by using you know, Zelda game that's, you know, Zelda gamepad, where you gotta, you know, drive ride Impa with the gamepad and stuff like that. Or not Impa, wow, I just came with Epona with like the gamepad or whatever. Like, obviously, it's, you know, it's touchy area, and I know that they're actually announcing, it was another leak from Time Magazine, good old Time Magazine, but they're actually announcing like 2 gamepad like prototype things that they're coming out with in the future that's supposed to, like, you know, utilize the gamepad more, and I'm actually excited. That's why, guys, right now, if you're watching this video, go to twitch.tv/Nintendo, watch the Nintendo Treehouse live at E3. It's going to be showing all these games in depth. It's going to be showing you more things than we could even explain to you, so definitely recommend doing that.
Yep, and that's just, you know, just our ideas on the gamepad. You know, everybody has their own opinions on the gamepad, so that's pretty much it. You know, that's all the games, right? Is that all the stuff we have on the list?
Yep, that's all.
Yeah, so, you know, overall, final impressions for me for E3, it was great, especially, you know, Nintendo's trying to be these social media tryhards now.
Yes.
They're trying to get, like, these, you know, these, like, kind of viral, there's even a nod to writing dirty from Luigi in the game. They did this whole, like, joke, oh, no, Mario game? You know, little jokes like that, little funny stuff like that.
I love the Mother 3 thing, like,
yeah, exactly.
The Robot Chicken, Iwata versus, like, Reggie, that was so good.
Yeah, a lot of Robot Chicken kind of, like, you know,
I wonder if they actually did that. I'm actually going to look that up, if they actually were the ones who, like, produced those skits.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like Nintendo, like trying to like recognize, or they're finally recognizing that there's like a social online audience now, you know, for the stuff, for their games and for their franchises. You know, look at Smash Brothers. This is unheard of. They would have never. I mean, they were exactly. I mean, what was it? We're in Evo, that one Evo tournament, right? When they were gonna ban Smash. I mean, they were on the brink of banning Smash from actually being streamed, and now they're holding an invitational tournament for their new Smash Brothers.
At E3, the biggest event.
At E3, invitational with all these pro players playing Melee to show off the game.
It's amazing. It really is. And they're using like the pro commentators too. Like everybody.
Exactly. It's not like, oh, we're Nintendo. We're gonna do things our way. We're gonna like the control guys from everything.
Nintendo Minute is like commentating it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh god, we need the funny guys who stream on Twitch, who are those commentators who bring the hype towards the game.
Yes.
And it's so great that
they have an understanding of the game deeper than most casual players. Someone that can explain why this guy is hanging on the edge, you know, stuff like that. It's good. It's good. So yeah, guys, that's our opinions on the Nintendo E3 conference, not really conference, but digital event 2014. I thought it was absolutely amazing.
Me
Definitely
too.
The winner of E3, hands down, was Nintendo.
I would say so.
And I think after today, they sold a lot of Wii U's. I'm just gonna call that one right now. You can look that up on Nintendo Life. But yeah, guys. If you're watching this on my channel, make sure to check out KidLot's channel down in the description. You're not going to be disappointed. Lots of great content over there.
And same thing here. You know, if you're watching this on my channel, it'll be going up on both channels. Be sure to look at Colony's channel. He's a great friend of mine. Very good videos. And we're going to be doing a lot more stuff in the future, I think. So his link will be in the description of this video as well.
Yep. Okay, guys. Well, that's it for us. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and we're out. Peace.